I felt like Hollywood is just spineless, en masse.
Picture this. A young Jim Carrey, wild-eyed and desperate, bouncing around Hollywood like a rubber ball no one wants to catch, rejected, ignored, a dreamer on the edge of giving up. Then, out of nowhere, the Wayans family, comedy's unsung kingmakers, swoop in, dust him off, and catapult him from a nobody to a megastar who'd soon have Tinseltown eating out of his hand. How did this quirky Canadian go from persona non grata to the face of a comedy revolution, all thanks to a single show? Buckle up, because this alleged tale of rejection, redemption, and a family's gamble is about to unfold, purely for your entertainment. Let's rewind to Jim's early days. Born in Ontario, Canada, he was a kid with big dreams and an even bigger personality. His family hit hard times. His dad lost his job, and they ended up living in a van for a spell. Jim turned to comedy as an escape, doing impressions of everyone from Elvis to cartoon characters. By his teens, he was performing stand-up, and soon he made the leap to Los Angeles, the land of opportunity, or so he thought. Hollywood, though, wasn't rolling out the red carpet. Jim bombed his audition for Saturday Night Live, a gig that could have been his big break.
My name is Jim Carrey, and this is my Saturday Night Live audition.
Hey, forget that crap. Get on with the stuff that got you expelled.
That's when I had to bring out the big guns. People like post-nuclear Elvis.
Casting directors saw him as too out there and too unpredictable. He was a human tornado, hilarious to some, chaotic to others, and studios didn't know what to do with him. Enter the Wayans family. This tight-knit crew, siblings like Damon Wayans, Keenan Ivory Wayans, Sean Wayans, and Marlon Wayans, had comedy in their blood. Keenan, the mastermind, had already made waves as a stand-up comic and writer, even working on Eddie Murphy's Raw, but he wanted more. He wanted to shake up TV with a sketch show that didn't play by the rules. The result was In Living Color, a bold, edgy series that mixed raw humor with social bite. Fox, a young network hungry to compete with the big dogs, greenlit it, and Keenan assembled a cast of unknowns and underdogs. That's where Jim comes in. Hollywood might have snubbed him, but the Wayans saw something, a spark, a madness, and they were ready to fan it into a flame. Jim wasn't an instant pick. He auditioned twice for In Living Color.
Captain's log, stardate 14. We're being pulled towards a hostile planet. I'm hoping that Scotty will be able to activate the backup control systems. God, I feel so vulnerable.
Captain, I'm picking up some strange signals. Something about intergalactic oppressors, sir.
Captain, intruders are approaching the bridge, sir.
Who are you?
I am the Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Spock, who is he?
A former Calypso singer, Captain, who later became leader of a 20th century African-American religious sect known as the Nation of Islam.
If you'd like to buy some incense.
The first time, he didn't make the cut. Keenan passed, maybe unsure if Jim's wild energy fit, but Jim didn't quit. He came back, doubling down with impressions and physical bits that left the room in stitches. Keenan later said that Jim was like a white dude doing crazy stuff we'd never seen, a perfect fit for a show aiming to break molds. Damon, already a rising star, vouched for him too, sensing that Jim could match their vibe.
He's our Eminem. Jim Carrey is a master impressionist.
Yes.
Like he does like Sean Penn.
Yeah.
Like weird, like Michael Landon. Like he would get standing ovations in a comedy club doing a 20-minute set. Now, any comedian will tell you that's damn near impossible. There's few and far between that can do that. That's how good he was. But he hated doing the impressions because people thought that's all he did.
Right.
So me and him, after Sam Kinison made it, like we made a pact that we're gonna push each other. Mm-hmm. So he would go on stage, he couldn't do his impressions, and we just yell out stuff to him. And then he would do the same thing for me. And we would just challenge each other on stage. We had nothing to lose.
Right.
You know? But Jim, I truly knew he was special.
The Wayans took a chance, and Jim joined the cast as one of the few non-black performers, alongside talents like David Alan Grier and a then-unknown Jamie Foxx. It was a gamble for Jim in the show, but it paid off big. On In Living Color, Jim didn't just shine, he exploded. The Wayans gave him freedom to flex his rubber-faced genius, and he ran with it. Characters like Fire Marshal Bill, an unhinged safety officer who'd set things ablaze while preaching caution, became instant classics. Jim's physical comedy, all wild limbs and cartoonish faces, stole scenes. Vera DeMilo, a muscle-bound bodybuilder with a squeaky voice, showed his range. Even sketches with Damon or Sean, like the Homie D clown bits, let Jim play off their sharp timing. Keenan, directing and writing, pushed the cast to go big, and Jim took it to another level. Fans loved it. Critics noticed. The show was a hit, pulling in millions and giving Fox a foothold against giants like NBC. But let's not gloss over the stakes. Before In Living Color, Jim was scraping by. Stand-up gigs at the Comedy Store, small parts in flops like Earth Girls Are Easy. He'd even done a vampire flick, Once Bitten. That barely made a ripple. Hollywood's gatekeepers weren't calling. Some say that he was too niche, too manic. Producers wanted safe bets, not a guy who'd twist his face into a pretzel for a laugh. The Wayans, though, didn't care about safe. They were outsiders, too, fighting to prove that black-led comedy could dominate. By putting Jim on, they weren't just saving him. They were building a legacy, allegedly turning a reject into a rocket. The numbers back it up. In Living Color's early seasons were a smash, and Jim's characters became water cooler talk. His Fire Marshal Bill skit got so popular, schools used it to teach kids fire safety. Ironic, given the chaos. The Wayans' faith in him wasn't charity. It was strategy. Keenan knew a diverse cast could widen the show's reach, and Jim's white guy gone wild shtick balanced the lineup. Damon later joked that Jim was their secret weapon, a loose cannon that they could aim at any target. Off-screen, the vibe was tight. Castmates like Takia Crystal Kima said that Jim was a sweetheart, always hyping others up. That camaraderie fueled the magic. Then came the leap. Jim's In Living Color fame caught Hollywood's eye, just as the Wayans had hoped. Producers who'd ignored him started calling. His first big movie break, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, came hot on the heels of the show. Jim co-wrote it, starred in it, and turned a low-budget flick into a box office beast, raking in over $100 million. The Wayans didn't make that movie, but they'd primed him, given him the stage to prove that he could carry a project. Next up was The Mask, then Dumb and Dumber. Jim was a star, commanding millions per picture. But allegedly, without the Wayans' boost, he'd still be cracking jokes in dive bars. The Wayans deserve their flowers here. Keenan's vision wasn't just about laughs. It was about launching careers. Damon became a movie star too, with hits like Major Pain. Sean and Marlon teamed up for Scary Movie, a franchise that minted money. But Jim's arc stands out. He went from Hollywood's Unwanted to its Golden Boy, all because a family saw what others missed.
He said, I wouldn't be successful without your brother.
Yeah. I wouldn't be successful without my brother either. I think a lot of us wouldn't be successful without my brother. Hollywood didn't want him no more because he did this thing called Duck Soup that bombed. Or Duck something, Duck Factory, and it bombed. And so they were cold on him, so the network didn't want him. And then Keenan saw Jim in the audition that Damon brought him to, and Damon was bigging him up. Keenan was like, he's hilarious. And then from there, he put him on, and he let Jim buck wild. And Living Color was a playground.
Yeah.
Keenan always said, don't just do what's on the script. He made us all writers. Have something in your back pocket, because when we do second take and third take, don't do the same thing. The audience can only hear the joke one time, and it's only get diminishing returns, so they want to hear something different. And so that's what we did. Keenan was a star maker, is what I'm saying.
Some whisper that it wasn't all rosy. Rumors say that Jim's growing fame strained ties with the cast, that he outgrew the show too fast. He left after a few seasons, chasing movies while In Living Color kept rolling. No hard proof of beef, though. Just speculation for entertainment's sake. Jim's never forgotten the Wayans' role. In interviews, he's called In Living Color his launching pad, praising Keenan's genius and Damon's mentorship. He's said that the show taught him to trust his instincts, to go big or go home, a lesson that defined his career. The Wayans echo it. Keenan has bragged about discovering Jim, while Damon has laughed about unleashing him on the world. It's a mutual love fest. No bad blood alleged here, but the narrative's too good. Hollywood snubs a gem, a family polishes it, and a star is born. What's wild is how this flipped the script. Hollywood is a machine, cold, cliquey, and quick to discard. Jim was fodder for its grinder until the Wayans rewrote the rules. They didn't just put him on, they turned him into a brand. Elastic face, fearless energy, box office gold. Post In Living Color, he wasn't begging for roles. He was picking them.
I know you've had a long career even before In Living Color. Peggy Sue got married and all those other films. But I gotta take some credit. I think black people really was like the first crowd to really adore you from all your characters, from Fire Marshal Bill.
And I value that like you have no idea. You have no idea.
Now, let me ask you, did you dream this big? Because now you're this great big actor, huge box office draw. Did you dream this big, or did it just kind of happen?
No, I dreamed it. I dreamed it. I really did. I had a teacher in the 2nd grade who came in, this Irish woman who said, you know, whenever I want something, I pray to the Virgin Mary and I ask her for it, and I say I'll do something in return, and I get whatever I want. Like that. I'm sitting at the back of the class going, good deal, you know. And so I went home. I said a prayer. I asked for a bike. My father couldn't afford a bike. All my friends had bikes. And I asked for a Mustang bike, you know, with the, you know, at that time they had the big bike was the Mustang bike with the big handlebars and the banana seat, you know. And I asked for that, said I'd say the rosary every night. And 2 weeks later, I walk into my apartment and my whole family's standing around gawking at me with big smiles on their faces. I didn't even notice. I walked in my bedroom, brother comes in, says, didn't you see what's in the living room? It was a brand new Mustang bike, banana seat, big handlebars. 2 weeks later, I won in a raffle that I didn't enter. And it was a friend of mine who walked into a store and put my name down, you know, without me even knowing it. So I've been operating my life like that ever since. And Hollywood was the same thing. It was a creation of my mind to begin with. But then what you do is you put it out there like it already exists. You feel it as if it already exists. And then you know, when the doors open up, you walk through them, you know? And In Living Color was a gigantic, huge doorway for me, you know? It was like the thing, basically. And there's a lot of work that went in before that, but that was the doorway. You know?
Movies like Liar Liar and The Truman Show showed his range, but it all traces back to that sketch show stage. The Wayans gambled on a misfit, and it paid dividends for him and for comedy. So was Jim really not wanted? Casting rejections say yes, he wasn't their type. But the Wayans saw past the suit's blind spots. Allegedly, they didn't just save him, they sculpted him, handing him the tools to conquer. It's basically a Cinderella story with a twist. No fairy godmother, just a family with a vision. Jim's stardom wasn't luck, it was a launch, fueled by a show that dared to be different. Here's the takeaway. Jim Carrey, the guy who'd make you laugh till your sides hurt, owes his crown to the Wayans belief. From Hollywood's trash heap to its A-list, he rode their wave. For fun, ponder this. Where did Jim be without them? Probably still twisting faces in obscurity. Thanks to Keenan, Damon, and crew, he's a legend. And that's a tale worth telling. But anyway, what do you guys think about all this? What are your thoughts on Jim's story? Did you know that the Wayans family helped him so much? Let me know in the comments below.